your Bible. Give you chills, look around, it's the end of time. I ain't scared, I prayed for this in 2005. Now I'm here, is it real? Really real, really real. Talk that make you read your Bible. Give you chills, look around, it's the end of time. I ain't scared, I prayed for this in 2005. And now I'm here, and I got angels with me. I got angels with me if they come for me. It's power in the blood, this truth will make you free. You'll see, I got angels with me. I got angels with me if they come for me. It's power in the blood, this truth will make you free. This the moment we've been waiting for. At the border, sizing up the wall. Should we stay or go? Famine of the word coming, they censoring internet. They got bombs, we got angels with us. We a bigger threat. I know they see us calling chariots, and they scared of that. Echoes in all of my phone calls. They hearing that. Sending agents.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Long time no see. This is LJ with the No Longer Vain podcast. I got multiple time returning guest David here with me, and we're here. Saying hello again. It's been a while. You want to say hello, David?
Greetings and salutations, saints and fellow citizens, and the Kodashim.
I love it. No, we always have good conversations when we get David on, and always a pleasure to have you on, brother.
Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. That being said, first of all, thanks again for tuning in to the No Longer Vain podcast. We got something new, something good talk about today as far as with as you see in the title, we're going to be talking about what is freedom. And so to be honest, we're going to start talking a little bit about some of our experiences with the other side of the pond. Both David and I, within the last year, had our first trips overseas to Africa, and so we'll touch on that, and we'll touch on some of the takeaways from that, and kind of how it ties into this. That being said, if you are online and you can hear us, if you can put a 1 in the chat, you don't have to, but hey, it helps us to know, just to make sure everything's going good. Also, if you're in the chat, even if it's just to say hello, hey, love to get that as well. So, that being said, there we go. I see at least one like there. So, hey, I appreciate it. So, well, cool. Well, let's get started. I'll start with asking questions with you. First of all, I'll talk about myself. I don't know if I've actually talked about it on the channel. I know I've spoken about it on Facebook and to a lot of folks, but actually it's almost exactly a year ago. Hey, what's up, Harvey? How you doing, man? It was almost a year ago. Actually, almost exactly a year ago. So October last year, I actually got a chance to go to Uganda, and it was pretty fun trip. That being said, David also had an opportunity to visit, I think, 2 different countries in Africa, about this summer as well. So I'll start with you, David. Let's talk about some of your takeaways. Yes, I'm putting you on the spot. Here we go.
You went first. You share first.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna make me share first? You really? Okay.
You're the host.
I'm the host. Okay. That's what I said. I may have shared on here, so you know what? I will go ahead and get started. Okay. I mean, first of all, it was beautiful. My trip to Uganda. First of all, I was able to take the family. It was my first time ever actually traveling overseas. well, let me rephrase it. This is my first time actually stepping foot outside of this country. And so the closest that I've been, I was in southern San Diego, in Imperial Beach, and we hopped on the beach and literally walked down to the mouth of the Tijuana River to where we can see into Mexico. That's literally the closest that I've ever been to another country. And I've literally never stepped outside of the borders of the U.S. prior to my trip last year. So I guess when I went for the first time, I went big. And so yeah, we went over to Uganda, and I'll be honest, one of the I mean, you would think you do that for the first time and it's going to be like, as soon as you get off the plane, it's just going to be some kind of crazy, wow, this is great. And to be honest, there was a little bit of that because we got off the plane, we took pictures, but to be honest, it was like 5 a.m. there, and to be honest, we had been traveling for 18, 19 hours, so didn't get the fullness of it. But I'll tell you when it actually hit me was when it was actually about 3 or 4 days in. I was actually speaking to one of the locals, guy by the name of Janan, great guy. He actually lived a couple doors down to where we were staying in an Airbnb, and he was literally sharing with me a lot of just the culture there. I mean, even from a lot of their, just their culture, talking about, how big of a deal it is within their tribe, even from like when a new baby is born, if it's a boy, he's like, hey, this is your family, and so on and so forth, talking to the people around us. If it's a girl, he even talked about how they point to like all 4 directions, talking about this is your family, because again, one of the things with the women is like, hey, finding a mate, and so on and so forth. And honestly, a lot of the culture reminds me a lot of the culture of the Bible. It even in thousands of years later, their culture is still intact, and it's crazy how a lot of that stuff still holds true. So he's telling me a lot about his culture, and I'm talking to him also about a lot of my culture as well, and about a lot of us. And it's funny. It was like he actually kind of gave us a tour of Kampala, which is the largest city in Uganda. And as I'm talking to him, it hits me that literally I am the first person in my family line in over 400 years to set foot on this continent. And so, we got there, I think it was Wednesday, this was Sunday, and that's when it hit me. And it was like, I had kind of a chill come across my body, that it was like, it because kind of the weight of it, like really just kind of hit me at that moment. That literally the last time that someone in my family line was, had touched the shores of this continent, that we were getting carried off in chains. Now, obviously, it was this was East Africa, so it was not exactly where a lot of our ancestors were taken from here in America. But I mean, still, even just the land, it was surreal to me. And so, but literally just seeing a lot of the culture of the locals, it was pretty cool. It was there's a lot of big pieces of it, and we'll dive more into certain other pieces kind of after. I'm going to let Curry talk a little bit about his experience as well, and we'll get a lot more into that and kind of how it ties into the conversation. So go ahead, Curry or David.
So how long were you in Uganda?
So let's see. We got there on Wednesday and we left Friday 2 weeks later. So 2 weeks and about a couple of days. So yeah, we got there like early morning. Wednesday, left early morning Friday, I think it was. So yeah. So it was about 2 weeks, 2 days.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, and to be honest, let me tell you, if you do plan on making a trip like that, that's about, you want to have a solid 2-3+ weeks if you can do it, because literally, that the first and the last days are wash. I mean,
They're travel. Those are travel days.
100% travel days. Like if you think you're gonna make it a weekend trip, or I mean just a week, I mean literally that first day you're gonna be worthless. I mean literally, I had some family that was living in Uganda at the time, and I remember we went out to lunch that day we got in, and I'm at lunch, and my head's literally down like this. I mean, dozing off, and then I wake up and get back in the conversation. Then I'm gone again. And so I mean, it was the first time I had experienced jet lag, and I'll be honest, the jet lag is real. It's every single bit of it, because I mean, think about it. I mean, there it's about 8 to 9 hours, depending on the time of year, ahead of us. So I mean, hey, it was what 2-3 in the afternoon there, but it was what midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning my time. Not to mention, I didn't sleep the best on the plane, and so the jet lag is real. So literally, that first day, you're not going to get much done there. So so if you're thinking a week's going to be long enough, it's really not. You'll really, if you want to get the most out of it, you really want to at least 2 weeks. I mean, I was there for 2 weeks, and I felt like that there was I could have used more time there. So yeah.
Cool. So he is right. You know, it was my first time, and I'm glad we were 19 days. 19 days. Yeah. Well, okay. Some travel snafus, but really for the trip was 19 days, but for me ended up being 18 days. I went to 2 countries, spent 8 days in Kenya, which was 8 hours ahead of us here, and 10 days in Ghana, which was only 5 hours. I think now we were in Nairobi, Kenya. When we left Nairobi, I just want to share this before I get into any more detail. The interesting thing was, I didn't realize it, but Nairobi, Kenya, as we were flying to Accra, Ghana, Nairobi is below the equator. And I didn't realize this until we were flying, and you can look on the flight path while you are in the air. You can look on the flight path, and you see where you're flying. And I'm like, oh, we're flying over the equator. Oh, interesting. I don't believe I was getting ready to be a story. Well, I don't know if I've ever been south of the equator before. Anyway, it was 18 days. It was wonderful. As I said, as he said, the first and the last day are going to be strictly travel. And for me, because I had like huge delays in flights, cancellations and delays, in flights trying to get out of Houston, what should have been a day and a half of travel ended up being hold on, because remember, I have to remember time. So I would have left Houston Sunday morning and landed in Nairobi Monday night. So yeah, that's a day and a half. So it ended up being 2.5 days, because I didn't get there until Tuesday, because Double A Airlines was awful, and I missed my Delta flight, and all that good stuff. So anyway, I ended up being there a day later. Like Darnell said, I didn't have this moment of when people have this moment of, oh, we're here. I didn't have that moment. But one of the first things I was glad about, as soon as I got off of the plane there in Nairobi, I was happy to see everything looked like me. So that was the people, billboards, the advertisements, you name it. Even when I was looking at television, there was a channel on that I would say was its own version, the Kenyan version of Sports Center. And their topic was football, which is what we call soccer, but their topic was football. And you had four gentlemen, and just like we all are, they were a myriad of shades, but we're all the same people, right? We're all Negroid or Black people, whatever. And it was just a beautiful thing to be somewhere where when you walk in, you're not catching stares because you're the only speck of pepper in a room full of salt. So that was a beautiful thing to be around my people. What else? Okay, so there was 8 days there, like I said, 8 hours ahead. Yes, the jet lag is real, but it wasn't really bad for me because, and I joke, in our study group, I said I feel like probably the Most High is getting my body ready to be over in Africa because I don't really sleep at night here. I take some of my best naps, like at work in the midday. Some of the best sleep is in the middle of the day, which is nighttime over there. So it wasn't a really big adjustment for me. The adjustment was when I came back. That was the adjustment. But I don't want to neglect that I went over with a wonderful group and fellowship of believers, Great Awakening International, who is led by Dr. Kenneth Howard out of Detroit. And even prior to our going, and I know I might be moving us too fast, but even prior to our going, we had many planning meetings. And the thing that he said on our last meeting prior to going over, it was two monumental things for me that helped me. First thing was, he said, when you get to Africa, now their timing is a little different, so arm yourself with patience. Now, it's not like I have not heard preachers and the lot, and even me preach telling people to be patient. The Lord is good to those who wait on him. Yeah, but it was just something when he said it that day, it hit. So when those delays and those cancellations and delays started in the airport, it got so bad I had to switch airlines just to get out of Houston. But when those delays started, all I did was walk through the airport and pray. Missed the flight in New York. Walked through the airport and prayed. If ended up flying into Amsterdam in lieu of Paris. Was there for 5 hours. Walked through the airport and prayed. Got a chance to see a lot of stuff. So I was being prepared for patience to have her perfect work even then. So that's the first thing he told us, to arm ourselves with patience. The second thing was, he told us that when we get over there, don't go over thinking that you're going to teach the people anything. Go over knowing that you are there and you're going to learn more than you teach. And I'm so glad I had that. Not that I was going over to try to tell anybody anything. I was going to be a sponge. I wanted to take in the culture. I wanted to take in the land and just behold the beauty of what the Most High has created. And those things helped me. And so as we were going on our excursions, going into the different villages and different communities in Kenya first, witnessing or preaching what we call the Basora, not the Godspell, but the Basora of the kingdom. And it was just a beautiful experience. We had an opportunity to feed the people. Every time we went to a village, they led us with a parade. It was awesome. I did upload a whole bunch of videos. I didn't do lives, so they're uploaded, so they should still be there, because it seems like Facebook is getting rid of the live videos but leaving the uploaded videos. So I uploaded about, I think it's nearly 40 videos of the experience. And so from the fellowship to the mining of gold, it was beautiful to see the people in Kisii mining their own gold. There were no light-colored hands digging in the ground. There was the people in the community digging and mining their own gold. And oddly enough, there are a lot of places, oddly enough, in Africa where the people have discovered deposits, like huge deposits of gold. And because of outside, dare I say, European interference, The governments have capitulated to, I hope that's the right word, to the request of the Europeans, and they have banned the people from mining their own gold. But it was beautiful to see the people in Kissy mining their own gold in their community. And so I have a video about that. The food,
Whew.
like me, okay, so if
Oh.
any food was a stronghold other than macaroni and cheese, it would be potato chips. And of course, I hadn't had any potato chips, and we were in the grocery store. And what did I do? I saw this whole, shelf of potato chips. And I saw something that looked similar to Lay's. The only thing I recognized was Pringles, but I wasn't going to pay $5 for a can of Pringles. And that's what it was. And so I was looking, and I saw this one major brand, See-Through, and I'm like, oh, these are not the flavors that we have. I like sour cream and cheddar and stuff like that. So, but as I'm turning these bags over, I look, and there are only 3 ingredients, right? And so you have potatoes, vegetable oil, and the flavor in the bag. 3 ingredients. Okay, so when you look at our bags of potato chips, again, would you pray my strength? When you look at our bags of potato chips, there's 25 to 35 ingredients, most of which we cannot pronounce, and most of which the reason they are not in these ingredients are not in these bags overseas is because those ingredients are outlawed. They are banned. Because they know that it is not good for human consumption. I learned this even when I was in the what do we call that place? When I was in Amsterdam, and also when I was in London, because I started looking at ingredients, and a lot of these places don't have these frappa-rappa-rocka-rocka-nate and sappa-sappa-nappa-bucanate. They don't have all of this stuff because those chemicals are banned.
Yeah.
And so they're not healthy for us. So I had my 3 ingredient potato chips that tasted good. So those 8 days in Ghana, not to be too graphic, but it also improves your digestion, So it was just beautiful. Ghana being, it's the rainy season over there. So it was cooler. So it was like 80-degree days, upper 70s, lower 80s. And Ghana is hill country. So everywhere you turned around and looked, there were beautiful hills and mountains and I don't want to say prairies, but just greenery. And as we were driving, in certain places, because we were fortunate to be on a little minibus, and we had a wonderful driver by the name of Philip, and he was very accommodating. And to watch the brothers put the luggage up on top of the minibus was excellent. Would you look at the comments? Okay, so that was beautiful. And as we were driving, when I wasn't sleeping, because if you know me, if you're close to me, I don't ride well. You don't want me to ride with you to keep you awake, because as soon as the vehicle moves, I'm out. Now I can drive for hours. I can be talking to you and I will fade away. I'm just gone. It just happened. So I'm no good. They laughed at me so much. It was there were 12 of us in Kenya, and then when we went to Ghana, another 18 joined us. So it was about 29 or 30 of us that were total, but more of us. Some only did Ghana. But anyway, it was just beautiful. The people were laid back. I can say I don't remember anybody having watches. When you asked for time, everybody was scrambling for phones. The other thing that I noticed about these brothers and sisters is when they had new clothes, they don't iron. They just take them out of the pack and put them on. It's like, oh, my mother was like, where are you going with them wrinkled clothes? In my bedroom, I had to pass her door. And so, you didn't leave unbathed and unironed. So that's part of my life. I iron everything, and I did take an iron with me, little portable iron, when I went to Africa. And they laughed at me for that, but I did have a portable iron that did steam. So I was not wrinkled, being honorable to how I was raised. So that was Kenya. We visited, let's see, Kisii, I almost said it. The other community, such wonderful people, such wonderful people. Then we went over to Ghana. That was I think a 6-hour flight. First time ever. We got on Kenya Airways, and everybody was black. The whole staff was black. You hear me? The pilot, and I don't have a problem. I didn't question when I saw the black pilot to see if he was qualified. All I was happy to see was black faces. Can somebody say hallelujah? And so, and those sisters in those red suits and the nice blouse, it was something to behold. And right before we took off, never had seen this before. That sister came from the back of the plane to the front, spraying some type of mist. There was no liquid coming out. It's just like an aerial spray. This wonderful fragrance. I'm like, what? Then they fed us a meal. So I had some curry chicken and spinach, and I tell you that spinach tasted like Big Mama's greens without the pork. It was just good. It was good. That was a nice flight. Then we get to Ghana, and then it got a little different. And it was still beautiful, but that's when I knew that I was really near my close relatives, because when I got to Ghana, the people looked even more like me. And they behaved like me. So that's why I was ready to fight when I got to Ghana. My first meal in Ghana was pizza because we went to a mall. But still, it was beautiful. We got a chance to share with the people there, to share the Basora of the kingdom with the communities there, looking at those who are looking to relocate, that they were building homes in, Torah observant communities. It was a beautiful thing to behold. But Ghana's a little more westernized. I will also tell you, now he told me to talk, so I'm talking. I will also tell you we got hit with the foreigner tax. So we went into this place. Darnell knows what I'm talking about. So we went into, okay, I'm not going to call the name of the place. Well, we went into this place. And so, they'll frequently tell us to keep our mouths shut, because when they hear our tongue, they will know that we're foreigners. Although we look alike, the minute you open your mouth, they'll know that you're not one of them, right? And so we went into this restaurant in the mall, in another mall, as a matter of fact. And one of the sisters was up there, and I watched it because I was in the back of the line, because I was one of the last ones to come into that restaurant. And we were going to order our food to go and go back to the hotel. And so she started ordering, because she's looking at the menu on the wall and she's saying what she wants. Well, while she's ordering, the young lady reaches under the counter and pulls up something black. What I would find out is this is a different menu. So then, and now this menu's up here lit up. There's nothing about this menu that says these prices aren't valid. But oddly enough, when you bring this new menu, all of the prices are higher. That didn't sit well with me. So I left out, and I went to a grocery store, and I got something from I picked up a couple of grocery items and then something from their deli and the grocery store. But that type of thing is real. When we went to the market, they told us before we went, almost everything, unless there's a stated price, everything is negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not careful, they will screw you over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, they will screw you over, because everybody's got, we have jobs over here. Most people don't have jobs over there. Excuse me. They don't have jobs over there. Everybody, for the most part, I would say it'd be safe to say maybe 75 to 80% of the people are entrepreneurial. Mm-hmm. And so Kenya and Ghana, both places, you're driving down the street and there's food everywhere. There's food everywhere. As a matter of fact, when we were in Kenya, we were in the Kisii community, and we were in the community where they were mining the gold, and somebody was reading a news article, and I don't know, it was one of those major news articles, and they were talking about a global food shortage. That's propaganda, y'all. That's propaganda. Because again, you could be on what we would call a block, and it was nothing to have 5 to 7 people on each block. especially Kenya, because there's no sidewalk and you drive on the opposite side of the street, and it's like there's a symbiosis between the people and the vehicles. It's like Philip drives fast, and then people just walk across the street. Like Philip is gonna hit, Father Philip is gonna, and I have to close my eyes. I commend any of the brothers and the sisters that got up in that front seat with Philip. I commend you. From where I was in the back, I could see that people were almost about to be hit. Like, what, wait a minute, woof. And then they just, it's like it's their foot. He doesn't break his speed, and they don't speed up. They don't turn around and look. And this was the entire country in Kenya. I don't remember seeing any traffic lights or traffic signs. Just a billion roundabouts, and somehow, some way, it worked.
Figure it out, yeah.
Yeah, but when we got to Ghana, then we did see some. We saw about half as many roundabouts, and then we saw some traffic signals there. And then when we got to Ghana, we did drive on, the right side of the street, in Ghana. So it was they were similar but two different cultures, which is why I was glad I was able to do two different countries. I was glad I was able to do that because it allowed us to see the temperaments. Kenyans were far more laid back. Oh, another interesting fact: the Kisii community, they were advising us that is the tribe that Barack Obama's father comes from. So I was like, they made sure that they told us that since they knew. So, but back to the foreign tax. If you don't, we had a liaison with us. Like I had some caftan suits made, and the gentleman, our liaison, took me. First, I had to go buy the material, and then I had to. Then after we bought the material, which was about $150, and then $150 US, and then once we left out of the store, I'm like, okay, I'm buying material. Where we? Oh, I got to find you a tailor. What? You're like, you got to find me a tailor. Because when we went into the store, I thought I was getting ready to buy made clothes. Oh, no, I was buying fabric. And so then we walked, he and I and his sister walked a couple of blocks up the street and then turned the corner. And they just knew where all this, because there's entrepreneurs on every corner. Now, they do this to the non-melanated people. The Asians, the whites, as many as there were, they didn't bother them. But when they saw us, because I guess we came on a bus, so then they knew if we came on a bus, we had to be tourists, and they swarmed us with all of their trinkets and whatnot. But anyway, we find a tailor, and Robert turns around to me. He says, "Don't speak. If he hears your tongue, he's going to charge you more." So long story short, I had 6 caftan outfits made for what amounted to about $320. US dollars. And to have one of those tailor made just for me would easily be at least $75 to $100. And when I was telling him that, he was like, for real? I was like, yeah, that's why a lot of our corporations have sent jobs overseas for cheap labor, because of course this country was built not on cheap labor, but free labor. So, the corporate people have, sent jobs over. And so, but that was another cool thing, because when I was in the hotel in Kumasi, it was Kumasi when I noticed it, because we were in a very nice hotel there in Kumasi, and Ghana, and the gentlemen of distinction, I didn't see anybody wearing suits and ties. I saw all of these gentlemen wearing what I now know as a kaftan. I was like, oh, Kaftan. And even the men who had entourages, they were wearing kaftans. So I told Robert, I said, I want to wear what the men of influence wear. I want to, because I ran my DNA, so I know that some of my people, whatever tribe it is, they are there in Ghana. So I know these are some of my people. So I want to wear what the influential people of my tribes, I want to wear what they wear. So that's why I had those kaftans made. And plus, I couldn't fit my suits because I had gained a little weight, but I've lost since then. So I might be able to fit those suits. But I enjoy wearing the kaftans because, we put on, David put on Saul's armor and it was too big. We've been wearing somebody else's fashion. So I wanted to wear the fashion of my people. We were looking for African fashion or Kenyan fashion in Kenya, and we found one. It was our Western fashion. But when we got there, we go. And so when we got to now, if you look up Woodin, Woodin, Woodin of Ghana, that's where I got my material. Shout out to Woodin. But when we got to Ghana, this is when we start seeing, if you will, ethnic fashion. I did learn that kente cloth, you know, that stuff that we had over here because we got our African prints and things of that nature. I did learn that kente cloth is not print; it is woven. It is beautiful, and each, whether it's a shawl or a sash or a whatever, all of them and the patterns have a meaning. And so this is the print of our people that Darnell has here on the screen. These are many of the man. I like that one that was just up there. I should have had one made with that on there. Anyway, I kind of like that blue there. But it was just wonderful. It was wonderful. We decided that we wanted to just get IDs. You know, because if you want to conduct any kind of business in Ghana, you have to have a Ghanaian ID. It's not citizenship, it's just an ID card. And so in order for us to think about, you know, I mean, we didn't have time to really do business, but I made sure that I had the ID. But this is the one thing, and I promise I'm going to shut up. The 19 days, it's a lot to say. Look at my videos. But when we were in the, let's just call it the registration office, the 10 of us that were in that day, because some had gone the day before, so I think it was 10 or 12 of us in that day. We were the only, other than the workers, we were the only melanated people there. The Asians and the Europeans, they were the ones in there getting IDs. Why? Because they are going to conduct business. Trust me when I tell you, nobody is fighting over that sand dune over in the so-called Middle East. They are rushing to Africa because Africa, we call Africa, is the land that keeps on. Nevertheless, 19 days in Africa, 18, 8 in Kenya, 10 in Ghana. Beautiful experience. And the next time they go, I would love to go. Yes, I did take lotion. I took the non-fragrant and no paraben lotion, and also under the advice of the outreach director, she said to get some neem oil, NEEM, and black seed oil. I added that to the lotion. Did not get bit.
Okay.
We were out by water and everything, and I added that to the, what did I have? I have not Jergens, Nivea, no fragrance, no dyes, no nothing, just lotion. And so I, you know, emptied some out and made sure I squeezed a lot of neem oil and black seed oil, and that was really the only fragrance it ended up having that came from those two oils. And I did not get bit. I made sure I shook it up and, you know, rub myself down. So
it's funny they talk all this stuff about mosquitoes and so on and so forth. I was literally right on the other side of oh my gosh, how am I forgetting the name? Lake Victoria, from Kenya. So yeah, because I was in Kampala, Uganda, and same thing. You know, you hear all the stuff about the mosquitoes and so on and so forth and the malaria. I didn't have an issue either. I didn't get the advice about the neem oil or the black seed oil, but yeah, no, you know, people talk all that stuff about it, but it's like, yeah, I was good. And I didn't catch malaria either. So
his name.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to mention this real quick. I forgot. I wrote something down. Okay. One thing, whenever Dr. Howard, anybody that we encountered, whether it was in Kenya or in Ghana, whoever he encountered, he asked them, what tribe are you? See, they don't identify themselves as Kenyans or Ghanaians or stuff.
Yep.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So in Kenya, you know, and now people move around, but they know their tribes.
100%.
So, you know, they'll say, oh, we're Kikuyu, we're Ewe, we are Luau, everybody knew who they were.
Yeah.
We get to Ghana. Many of the people were not Ashanti, but Asante. The gentleman told us, he said, the white man added the H. Okay, there's that H again. Okay. Okay. Anyway, he said that the white man added the H. He said, we are Asante. And what he said was, this does not mean the sons of Ashan out of the scripture. What he said is it was a gathering of tribes. I think he said 16. It's on my video. He said it's a gathering, I believe, of 16 tribes that came together because of war. So Asante means because of war. So it is auntie, war, Asan, because of. So it's war because of. Yeah, I think that's right. I might have said that backwards. Because of war. Asan, war, auntie, because of. Yes, war because of. I think that's right. Either way, but Asante is it was a gathering of tribes that came together for mutual survival to fight off the enemy.
Yeah.
So that was mostly who was in Ghana. That's the largest and wealthiest tribe in Ghana. And we went to the Anamwamasi village, which is a part of the Asante Kingdom. The last thing I want to mention is we went to the slave dungeons. They call them castles. I call them dungeons. And because LJ, that's how you introduced yourself. I'm sorry. LJ said that, he talked about the people being carried away. Well, I actually went to the dungeons where they carried the people away. And each of these dungeons had doorways, and they were called the doors of no return. And as they were dragging the people out through these doors of no return, they literally spoke that you will never return to this land. So as we, during our tour, go outside of the land, they tell us the history and so on and so forth. And then we turn around and we declare we are returning. You said we'd never return, but we are now walking through the door of return. So I wanted to bring that up. And also the stench in those dungeons after being inactive for somewhat 170, 180 years, something like that. The stench is still there. The stench of bodily fluids, front, back, vomit, blood, you name it. And because we're walking on a very cushiony floor. And when they decided they wanted to, do tourism, they said, well, let's clean this place up. Let's clean the floor. Well, when they're cleaning this thick carpet of stuff, they're like, what is this that we're cleaning? Because it had been abandoned. Well, they found out that was human waste. So they had dozens of our ancestors in these dungeons, sometimes 2 and 3 months at a time, waiting for a ship to come and get them. Don't listen to anybody that tell you didn't nobody come on no ship over here, because you disrespect the heritage and the horrible history of our people on the continent. Ships literally came, and I bet most of the people that say that garbage haven't even been over there. Don't do it, David. Anyway, so they kept them in there for dozens of people in a room that might be maybe 14 by 14. It seemed like the men's dungeon was always a little smaller. So in a room maybe 14 by 14. And here's the kicker. The good old church was right on top of the dungeon. So while they're allegedly out worshiping gold, you can hear the cries and anguish of people underneath you. You most certainly were not serving the God of the Bible. You just weren't. So like I said, some 170, 180 years later, the stench of those bodily fluids that are dried up and caked on the floor, the stench is still, especially at the Cape Coast, not at Elm, it was Cape Coast. The female, it was so bad in the female dungeon. When I walked in, you could hear everybody kind of gasp because the smell is still there. And there's so many other things that I could to talk about that. But the fact is they marched us away and they said that we would never return, right? And so those of us who have gone over we have returned. I did see many of the brothers and sisters of the Black Greek letter organizations, the BGLO, the Divine Nine, and such. They had been over and they had, donated funds and things of that nature, so that this history is not lost. It'll make you mad. I didn't want to cry. I was angry. One doorway to one castle. If you were too fat to fit through the doorway, they would starve you until you were thin enough to fit through the little narrow way. They could have easily walked you around. No, they were just being cruel. There was something ritualistic about this, you all have to understand. There was a spiritual component here. They were cruel. You had to go through this doorway. For many of our people whom they marched from what we call Nigeria to Ghana, that's approximately 404 miles. They walked them from Nigeria to Ghana. They were put on the ships in Ghana. They were forced into what's called the ancestral bath. Then they were marched another 15 miles down to the coast. And when those double wood doors opened for many, because they were inland, for many, their first sight of what we call the Atlantic Ocean was them being put on a ship. They had never seen that large body of water before because they were inland and they had not come down. Cruel treatment. And all this was for the British to have their sugars for their tea and all of these things, which I think we're going to get to as I shut up. But this led to, at least here in these United States of America, 250 years of free labor.
So how did they get them from Nigeria to Ghana? So they just walked them?
Walked them on the chain. They were chained up, bound hands and feet. Some would be put on ships, but really the shipping port to the New World was coming out of Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'd have some on ships in Nigeria and they would dock in Ghana. But that was not the rule. That was the exception. Those people that were coming from the Nigeria area, which again is why the tribes that are in Nigeria and Ghana, that's mostly my DNA.
Yeah.
They were marched from Nigeria to Ghana and put on ships in Ghana and brought over here, starting in South America in the early 1500s, Central America, the Caribbean, and then ultimately what we call North America.
So how did, because again, it's like, I know, I'm thinking if I was forced, it's like, I mean, because again, I'm getting up in age, got bad knees and so on and so forth,
Sir.
What if, you had somebody who was struggling as far as getting across? Because I mean, that's what'd you say, 400 miles, to get there?
Good setup. Thank you. I forgot that detail. So if on the chain gang, if you were weak, you were the weakest link in the chain, because listen, we see roads now in cities, but 400 and 450 years ago and prior to, this was jungle with wild animals. So the captors did not want their merchandise damaged because you're marching human bodies through the jungle and you can be attacked by wild animals. So what did they do? The weakest link, say, my bad right knee, it's troubling me and I can't keep up. They would stop the chain gang, take me off of the link, beat me. Now, don't kill me. Beat me so that I bleed out. Tie me to a tree alive because the animals are sniffing for blood. So you had the sacrificial people that were the weakest link because they intended to use your body. And if they felt like you weren't going to make it, well, you're just going to be sacrificed. We're going to tie you to the tree and let the wild animals eat you and torture you and kill you because we're going to tie you to the tree so you won't get free. But we're going to make sure that you're bleeding so that they'll be attracted to you and they'll let the rest of the chain go.
So it's crazy. It's like, with all of these movies and all these stories and so on and so forth that just sound terrible about what they did to our ancestors. I mean, it's like it didn't even touch the reality of really just how bad it was. And so it's funny. It's like this is not exactly even how I planned on taking this, but I mean seriously, it's you know you know, I know when you were originally telling me a lot of those details, that was kind of a big thing, because it's like as bad as you think it is, it's usually worse.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and that was something that was real crazy to me is when you think about that. And so yeah, go ahead.
It's, you know, we've seen plenty of, we see the slavery movies after we got here. They never want to talk to you about who you were before you got here. See, they don't tell you that when they put those people on with loincloths and breast covers, they don't tell you that they stripped them of their royal and priestly robes while they were out in their villages. See, they don't tell you that. So then they'll tell you that you were just out, you know, with your TNA out and your junk out, and everybody was just swinging in the wind and swinging from trees. That couldn't be furthest from the truth. We were civilized. Africa had civilization when the Caucasus Mountains were still in the caves. But, you know, you have colonial powers that went in and destroyed stuff. I'm sorry, I'm going to get your thing marked. My apologies. But, you know, they're good to have slave movie. Not another slave movie. I need the Wayans to do a parody on that. Not another slave movie. Until you start telling the truth. And then when they start to try to hint at it with the Woman King, they flip the story. Because, yeah, the narrative ain't true. I just put it like that. The narrative is not true, but okay. Yeah. So they don't want to tell you the truth about who we were. They don't want to tell you that they ordered us like the Sears catalog. They don't want to tell you that they wanted the people who built the treasure cities of Egypt. Look in your Bible to see who that was. They knew who we were. Yeah. And they trafficked us over here. But that was all in relation to our disobedience to the covenant that we made with our Lord. Yeah. I'm shutting up. Matter of fact, I'm going on mute.
Well, what if I ask you another question? Because I might have.
I'll come off you because you know I can't stop talking.
But yeah, but yeah, no, that's I mean that's a lot. It's I mean everything about that, because I remember when I was a child, my mom showed me Roots. You know, that whole Roots series, and you know, to be honest, I was appalled watching that, and just how bad everything looked just on there. You know, the movie Amistad, it was, I mean, terrible. But then, you know, you hear the things from the point of view of the people who were there, and it was so much worse. As bad as that was, it's so much worse, and that's crazy. And so, that being said, it's like, so just starting with that now. I'm gonna touch on another piece. Is like going back to your conversation on Kenya. Mm-hmm. I know you talked about the or it was two pieces you talked about. Actually, I guess some Kenya, some Ghana. As far as when you would see non-melanated people there, you said that they were there to do business.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna pair that with another piece that you talked about with in Kissy, how they were mining for gold, mm-hmm. and how the continent has all the resources, and how they know that the continent has the resources. I'll pair that with a story that I had with Janan, the gentleman there in Uganda that I spoke with, and he was actually talking about his ancestral land in East Uganda. He was talking about some of the cool things as far as with that. I mean, that's the land where what we call silverback gorillas run free. Yeah. So, but the actual species is actually called mountain gorillas.
Okay.
And I never realized it, but yeah, I mean, silverback, I thought it was actually a breed of gorilla, but it's actually just male mountain gorillas. So I said a breed, a species of gorilla, whatever you call it. But yeah, it's just a male mountain gorilla. So mountain gorillas is actually the species that they are. But I digress. But he's talking about that and talking about how they'll just walk out there peacefully, and the people there, they'll see them, there's no issue with them. It's like, obviously, you don't want to go out and start beating on your chest to them or nothing like that. He's like, yeah, that ain't a good decision right there. But other than that, I mean, you walking out there, they walking out there, you're a part of what they're used to seeing, and so on and so forth. But he's talking about that. He's talking about just how beautiful it is. He's talking about how he can see into Congo, and he gets to talking about some of that stuff, and in talking about Congo, he's talking about a bunch of stuff. And then he's like, oh yeah, and there's even a mountain of gold there in Congo. Yeah, it's funny. It's like, yeah, and so and I know there was another mountain of gold recently discovered in Uganda as well. So I mean, all over the place. So there's gold all over the place. Case in point, but I digress. But he keeps talking about stuff, and just a bunch of the beauty and a bunch of the details. And then it's funny, and not long after that, he's like, yeah, and then and he's like, yeah, and there's a UN base. And I'm like, of course there is.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, and he kind of brushed by that. He's like, yeah, there's a UN base, and I'm like, Mountain of Gold UN base. Of course there is. It's like, yeah, it goes hand in hand, and it made sense, and but it was just kind of one of those things. It was like, and so going back to kind of like what you're saying is like, when they come for business. When they come because, like you said, that's where the resources are. That's where that's where everything is, literally on the continent. The UN base, of course, is just there to protect the resources.
Exploit. Wrong word.
Word. Oh, it's protect. They're protecting the people to make sure that they can keep their resources. Somehow, with all that protection, they still end up losing it. But I digress. Yeah, and so, but yeah, no, that's I mean, but yeah, no, when you were talking about that conversation that I had with him, it was right up the alley. And actually, even in Uganda, I remembered that the area where a lot of the non-melanated folks lived was completely gated off from the rest of the city. They literally had their own community, and even there, it's segregated. It was the best of the land, and none of the locals could get in there.
Right?
In Uganda. And so it's as we talk about that, it's funny. Now, another piece is, here in the U.S., we think that, first of all, this whole thing of being black. What is being black? Here in the U.S., we just think anybody that's melanated, we just label them as black. And because in reality, most of the melanated people in the U.S. are our people. And so we just think black. If you're black, you're related to us. Now, when you get to Kenya, when you get to Uganda, it's crazy how you stand out still. I went to Uganda, and I remember walking through the market, and even when I had different clothes on, obviously this right here, you think Americanized. But no, and to be honest, they had a bunch of American clothes on as well. It's crazy. I mean, seriously,
I dressed poor and in t-shirts, and they had on Tommy's and Nautica.
Exactly.
I could have worn my t-shirts.
Exactly. And so, but yeah, so it had nothing to do with the clothes at all. But when you get there, I'm literally walking down the street at the market, and even before I started speaking, And this is literally before I even got to the market portion. This is just kind of a busy portion of the city.
Mhm.
Call it downtown. Actually, I think it was downtown Kampala, and it was a busy area, real hustling, real bustling. I remember there was, and it's crazy how the street like parted because it was like they see us walking down the street, and literally everybody starts turning around looking, like I'm a celebrity or something like that.
Mm-mm. Don't bury the lead, Darnell. Don't bury the lead. You're all giants.
But not all of us. Hey, I was there with Zara and Julius too. And to be honest, they're used to giants too, because it's right next door to Sudan. So there are people from Sudan that are there, and so a lot of the Sudanese, they're people that are taller than us,
Okay.
and by a lot. And I mean, yes, I'm tall, and my whole family is tall. But I mean, they're used to that. They have that. But
Mhm.
no, so it's not just the height. It's
Mhm.
like they looked at us and it's like, oh, you ain't from here. They can look at us. Oh yeah, we're still melanated just like them, but they
Mhm.
look at us and know that we are not from there. And I remember that there was a guy across the street. He was like doing a concert. He's like singing on a stage and sees me across the street, chucks up the deuces, and I'm like, "What's up?" I'm like, it's like I was the person on the stage. It's like you think of the other way around. Like it's like really, but so yeah, that was a thing. So it's like and so yeah, it's like I think of the old saying, "All skin folk ain't kinfolk."
Mhm.
But you go there and you realize that it's real.
Right.
Um, especially there because again, we aren't used to seeing as many melanated folks. They are used to seeing melanated folks, and most of the melanated folks that you see in the U.S. are related to you at some point,
Mhm. We're
and a lot
distant
closer
cousins some
relations.
kind of way.
Now you go over there, a lot of the melanated folks you see, especially East Africa, are not necessarily related. They're different tribes, and that different tribes is a big thing
Mhm.
because again, first of all, who named Kenya Kenya? It was not the people that live in Kenya
Mhm.
because they identified by tribes. And in fact, they still identify by tribes. Actually, in Uganda, there's multiple kingdoms even within Uganda.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
We went
When
to the
you
Ashanti Kingdom. Kingdom.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes, sir.
So the kingdoms are kingdoms of or tribes. Okay. And that's how they identified, not by the points that were drawn on the map by what
Yes.
is it, the Belgium conference or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so inevitably it was Europeans that named Kenya Kenya, and it was Europeans that named Ghana Ghana. It was Europeans that named Congo Congo, and so on and so forth.
Berlin.
The
Berlin.
Berlin,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, the other B,
Mhm.
wrong B. But yeah, so the Berlin Conference after World War II. So
Mhm.
they actually named the nations what they are today. So these are European names that they have, and so they still have completely separate cultures
Mhm.
even within countries.
Yes.
Okay, completely separate cultures, completely separate tribes, completely separate tongues, and so on and so forth. So multiple languages because they are not the same people.
Mhm.
And
And
so
some tribes got divided by the lines.
exactly. Yeah. And actually going back to that guy, Janan, the person I was speaking with, he was talking about Rwanda. And he got to talking about a lot of the wars in Rwanda and about how they spilled over because they literally um, are literally the same people as his tribe. So he's actually the same tribe as one of the two major tribes in Rwanda that are always fighting.
The
Uh,
Tutsi and the something else.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
I forgot which one he said he was.
Mhm.
But he was talking about yeah, he was one of those tribes. But again, like you said, it's like their tribe literally got divided by the line that Europeans built.
Mhm.
And so literally his people are also in Rwanda as they are also in Uganda. And so, and actually a lot of times when they're fleeing the fighting, they end up coming over to Uganda,
Mhm.
to their people. And so so yeah, there's a lot of different tribes. And if you think about it on Ancestry, when you do like an Ancestry report, you'll see that you have, it'll say like different countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Congo, and so on and so forth. Well, why is that? Well, it's because a lot of these tribes are actually related. Like you said, David just said, it's literally the same tribe that literally it was divided by lines. Okay, you have similar tribes and cousins and so on and so forth that literally are the same tribe or the same kingdom, but with European drawing these lines, or Europeans drawing these lines, they live in technically different countries, but they're literally the same people. They might even have to get a visa to go see their cousins on the other side of the European drawn line.
Hutu. That's it. Thank you. Hutu.
Okay.
Hutu.
Yeah.
Hutu and the Tutsis.
You know what? I just saw that.
When you were talking about, the look, I just remember when Julius and Zara moved over there, the people in Uganda immediately told them, you're either Nigerian or American.
Yes.
When I was with when I was getting my outfits made in Ghana, when I was walking with Robert and his sister, I asked him, what tribe is he from? And I asked him what tribe is he from, and he said he's from the Volta region. I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, so I started talking about my family and my tribes, because I did one of those little tests to get my tribes, and it was Igbo, Yoruba, Khoisan, right? And it's one other one. I guess those are the four main ones that it detected at the time. And so I said, you all can generally tell what tribe people are from, just looking at them. He's like, yeah. So I showed him a picture of my mom. He said, oh, she's Zulu. Now, anyone, my mom's been gone for a number of years, but he said, she's Zulu. Oh yeah, she's Zulu. Wow, she's so light. My mother was a high yellow mom, but he kept saying, she's definitely Zulu, but she's so light. He kept saying, I said, okay, now lay off on the she's so light. Lay off of that.
You better stop talking about my mama.
So then I showed him a picture of her mother, who was equally bright, right? And so he said, Zulu. So then I found a picture of my grandfather. He said, oh no, he's from up here. He said, that's he said that's over by, did he say Sierra Leone? He said it so fast, and I wasn't recording when he said it. But he was able to identify where those tribes are. Now, here's the thing. The Khoisan are in Southeast Africa, where the Zulu are as well, in Southeast Africa. Huh?
Southeast or Southwest?
I thought it was Southeast, but he said Zulu. That didn't show up in the genetic makeup, but Khoisan did. I know that's what he said. And I know the Khoisan didn't come from my dad, because when you Google Khoisan people, when you look them up, they are light-skinned Africans, and they have no non-African or non-Negroid DNA. And because the spectrum of our DNA can be many colors. My face is one color because of the sun, but the rest of my body is another color, right? So we come in many colors, but we are the same people.
Yeah.
And so that Khoisan, when I looked up that tribe, because I can look up Yoruba and then all that, that's Nigeria, right? So then, but I look at Khoisan, these people are in Southeast Africa. I said, oh, that makes sense. Because he just said, oh, she's Zulu. He said, or my grandmother, oh, they're Zulu. Now, their features, he could see their features. Now, their skin color was a little off-putting to him, because he took it to the other guy, and I hate that I can't remember his name. And he took it to him, and he said, what tribe? He said, Zulu. They just know by looking at each other what they are. Oh, I spilled my water. Pray for me.
I got you. Okay. Well, and it's fun. It's funny you say that, because I remember my former pastor's wife. We were talking one time, and she looked at me, my former pastor and his wife are from Kenya,
Okay.
and they said the exact same thing about me. Like, yeah, you look like you're from they say you look like you're from Nigeria. It's like everything from, you know, just the face and all about it, but then also my demeanor. You know, I'm an extrovert, I'm loud, and so on and so forth. It's like, yeah, it's like you definitely remind me of somebody in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, on the other hand, they said she looks a lot more like she's from Kenya, and so on and so forth, like she's actually from there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and demeanor as well. My wife is definitely a lot quieter, and so on and so forth.
And laid back, I'm
A
telling
lot
you.
more laid back. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, we definitely were made for each other. So,
Mhm.
but
Listen, I have to tend to the carpet. Hold, please.
go ahead. I got you. But that being said, it's funny that that was the case, because also when we were in Uganda, we were actually at one of the castles for the kingdom, of the kingdom of the Bugandan kingdom. So we were at one of the castles, and the guard at the gate, and another guy. Oh, I think Anjanan as well. But yeah, the guard at the gate, he was actually talking. Oh, and our tour guide, that were giving us the tour of the castle. They both said the exact same thing. Yeah, he you know, that I looked like I was from Nigeria. She looked like she was actually from Kenya. And it's funny, just in looking at us, you know, they can tell, or they see that, and that's before they even got a chance to look at the personality features and so on and so forth. But it is crazy how, not only the looks, how we look kind of has transitioned and stood the test of time with our generations, but even the looks do, but also the personality. So how we act and our style of going about life and so on and so forth, and all of that, our loudness, you know, that's an East Africa thing, that's a Nigerian thing, and so on and so forth. And so um, so that was something that, you know, as you said, that it definitely hit with us as well. And so that's always was pretty cool. And another piece as well, you know, as you mentioned about how they all know their tribes.
Yes,
uh,
sir.
Not only do they know their tribes, um I know in Uganda it was a big deal that we didn't know our tribe,
Mhm.
because they actually or they didn't that we didn't know where we were from. So because they asked us where are we from. We was like we're like, yeah, we're from America, we're from the USA. They're like, no, before that. And I'm like, uh don't know. It's like it's probably West Africa, it's probably Nigeria, Ghana, somewhere around there, but we don't know.
As
Yeah,
the test will tell you broadly West African.
exactly. But it's like, you know, but me to tell you like what tribe I was from and so on and so forth, it was like they kind of looked in there. It was weird to them that we don't know where we're from or who we're from or what tribe we're from. And actually, even here in the U.S., like we're literally the only people in the world that are defined. Well, we're the only part of the world that defines people by a color.
Right.
We're just black. But even white people can tell you, hey, I'm a German American. I'm English American. I'm of Irish ancestry. I'm Italian. You know, my ancestors came here from, we immigrated from Italy, and so on and so forth. But we're just black. We're of African ancestry, the ancestry of a continent, and not only a continent, literally the second largest continent in the world. Um, you know, second only to Asia, which isn't really a second separate continent. That's another conversation. But but yeah, literally. So, you know, so we're identified by just a continent. We're African American. And again, you go to Africa and it's so diverse, even within a single country. You know, but I mean, but then you get to talking about an entire continent trying to generalize them by just a whole continent, and it doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense actually. But we're the only people in the world that it's just that.
But they can't tell you who you are. They know who we are. They just can't tell you.
Yep. Although you can look at old maps that are within
what's the word that they use? That's not
conspiracy theory. Or...
No, it's not peer review.
Oh, peer review. Oh no, those maps are that Library of Congress. Yeah.
It's like, huh? This is the official cartographer for the king, and he says the kingdom of Judah is in West Africa. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody bumped their heads.
Yeah, and to be honest, you've seen that on previous videos. Yeah, actually, maybe even previous videos with you. I don't know if we talked about that as well.
We may have.
Yeah, but so this is not something we're making up. This is a literally peer-reviewed maps.
Was given to the king, and he didn't say, "Oh no, this is wrong. Take it back." They had it right 300 years ago, but now it's wrong now. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. Let's see. Yep. Library of Congress. You can find it on Stanford. So, we're not going to even get into all that. We that'll send us down a whole nother tangent. But
freedom.
If you want to Google Negro Land map,
yes.
And you can look it up on the Library of Congress, the largest library in the U.S. Library of Congress, Negro Land map. It's interactive. You can zoom in and so on and so forth. And right in the Horn of Africa, where you would see like Ghana, Nigeria today, you'll see Kingdom of Judah. And so, but yeah, so that's not something we're making up. That's not something that that just came out of nowhere, but that's legit. So, but I digress. But yeah, so they know who we were.
It's official.
It's official.
So let's hit the topic though. Let's hit the topic. I think we can hit. We look. We've already gone over an hour. I think we can hit the topic.
Let's hit it then. Okay. Negro Land map. Oh, hey, I talked about Library of Congress. I'll go ahead and share my screen then. Okay.
As I've hinted at what we really want to get to. And I think we want to get the message to the people. I told you.
Hey, let's go.
I told you to talk.
So Negro Land Library. So okay, well, and obviously there's a lot of other great references here. You got Library of Congress, Illinois.edu. Actually, on the previous page that I was looking at, you got Stanford University.
Not YouTube, not Instagram, not TikTok,
not just Wikipedia. So legit sources on this map. So, and again, Library of Congress.gov, government website. And here we go.
Ooh.
Oh, wait a minute.
Ooh.
Did they? Oh, this is just a blog. Did they get rid of the map itself?
Or maybe is it one of those you have to have a paid account now?
No. Did they get rid of that interactive map? Oh. Oh man. It must have been it must have been one of those DEI cuts.
You know what?
Oh man, they got rid of it.
Okay. So
okay, here we go. I'll go to this one right here.
Yes, I'm human.
You're verifying I'm human. Come on.
While that's coming up, also, it should be noted that Henry Kissinger, who was, I believe, the Secretary of State? He was something back then in 1969. In a memo, and I'm going to shut up, in a memo to then President Richard Nixon, called the Igbo tribes. He said they are the wandering Jews. Henry Kissinger told the president, it is a document you can go and view. He said the Igbos are wandering Jews. Henry Kissinger told President Richard Nixon, y'all keep on telling us we crazy and we making this ish up. No, he said the Igbo, and it's 60+% of us over here have Igbo blood. The Igbos are the wandering Jews, as he now goes to Negro land. Here we go.
So here you go. Negro land map, Library of Congress website, libraryofcongress.gov, as you see up top.
That's not some blogger.
This is not some blogger. This is within the Library of Congress. Okay. Slave Coast, Kingdom of Judah, or Ouida.
Now, what's that to the left of it? You had the Slave Coast and then the what coast?
Gold Coast.
Then what's that next to it?
The Tooth Coast, or Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Yep.
And then what's the other one? The
Grain
Grain Coast. So whatever they were stealing from the land,
Yep.
That's what they labeled it.
Exactly.
Stealing teeth, probably ivory.
Yep. That's Cote d'Ivoire.
Ivory tusks
Yep.
from the elephants. Gold, slaves.
Yep.
And it's not this map, but there's another one that's above it that it talks about. The land was called Lemlem. And it said this area is peopled by Jews. Now, you sure didn't have no non-melanated people in that Saharan sun. So don't tell that lie. Please don't. Don't tell that lie. And Lemlem, if I'm correct, Lemlem today is the area where Burkina Faso is.
Okay.
Many of you don't know about Burkina Faso because mainstream media won't tell you about that young African man over there clowning with the Europeans, you see. And I yield. Oh.
Here, I'm going to get you over to Burkina Faso on the map since we're talking about it.
I was like, what? How did we get to America?
Yep. There we go.
And it ain't that much distance. They just
right here. So that map was right up in here, where you're seeing Togo, Medine, Ghana, that Kingdom of Judah. That's right up in here. That's exactly what it is. And you see Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, where you would see all of that Negro land and so on and so forth. Burkina Faso is right here. So, and actually, if you even take it back a ways, all of this was a part of the Songhai Empire, which was, long story short, our people, our ancestors. So, but that's also something that you don't hear talked about either, is who we were, the royal bloodline, about how strategic the kings and so on and so forth that came from our people, or that were our people. And so, yeah. But yeah, so this is stuff that, I mean, you do your research, it's there. And again, I'm not just going off on Wikipedia. This is literally a government website. Or you can go to multiple universities, pages that I showed you had the exact same map. So, but I digress. But long story short, they knew who we were. They know who we are. And this is not just something that we're making up.
So when we talk about, because we've hinted at it earlier about what is it? Is it the land of the free? Because I can't see the title right now.
What is freedom?
What is freedom? Are we really living in the land of the free?
Ooh.
So the one thing that we both talk about, and then there was a good friend that came over to visit, who she has been to the continent many times. Right before I left to go, and she said she was actually scheduled to meet an African ambassador over at Prairie View at like 2 o'clock, and it was 1:30 here. And I'm probably about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from Prairie View, without traffic, maybe. And so we were like, "Don't you need to go?" Oh no, they're not. They don't go. They don't get anywhere on time. She was not exaggerating. So you could set a time to say, "Hey, let's meet at 2:30." In our westernized mindset, we show up at maybe 2:15, 2:20, anticipating that the meeting was going to start at 2:30. The person you're meeting with from there may not get there till 4:30.
Yep.
They have no. Okay, I'm sorry, Father. That's not the right. They don't have our concept of time. They're laid back. They are not in a rush to do anything. And when we're used to being put under time constraints, get up, got to go to work, got to get up, got to get to church, got to get up, got to get here. Everything is on a time. We got an alarm clock. That's the cog in the machine. If you spend any time with me, you hear me always talking about we're cogs in the machine. That's not how it is over there. It's laid back. I saw this black family, young Negro Bantu family here in the States. I don't know if they're here in Texas or if they're in another state. And it's a young couple, and they moved out. They bought a farm, and they're raising their children and homeschooling their children on the farm. And the thing that father said was, "I am not going to subject my children to that. Having to be on somebody's alarm clock, move on their time, be educated in their system, because Malcolm X told you only a fool will let your enemy educate your children and everything." But it was beautiful to see that a young brother and his wife got it, and they disconnected from the machine. They're still in the lands of our captivity, but they've disconnected from the machine. They have their land. They're living off of the land. I think they have 3 boys and 3 girls, 3 boys and 2 girls, something like that. And the sons jump up early in the morning. They go out and they do the yard work. They feed the animals, and he doesn't have to get them up. Even the littlest tyke. And they're loving it. He's videoing it. And the daughters just get up whenever they want to. But the sons, they want to jump up. They want to feed the animals. They want to clean out whatever. I'm not a farmer, so I don't know. But those young boys, probably the oldest, maybe 7, maybe 6 or 7. And to see that, I really believe that's how the Most High really designed for us to be.
Yeah.
Because everything is on such a time constraint. And if you set a meeting with our people for the continent, if you're late, they don't say nothing. "Oh, we're glad you're here. Let's get started." I'm telling you, we were late getting to the Adam Wamasi. Okay, they were expecting us one time, and we were a little late getting there. Their whole community was set up in that little square, seated, waiting on us to get there. We were not met with an attitude. We were met with another dance and parade. I'm not making it up. You go look at my videos. David Curry, Curry. It's the Ghana videos. Well, you see it on Ghana and Kenya, but they're in Ghana. We were late. We were supposed to go to Lake Victoria, but time did not permit, and the weather was going to get bad because it was supposed to rain, and those were dirt roads, and we didn't want to get stuck into something impassable. So, out of the abundance of caution, we did not, go to Lake Victoria. But that was our plan to go while we were in Kenya, because I guess Kenya is closer. Yeah. So, but yeah, the time constraints. We have many times that the dominant class will say you need to go back to Africa. But there are some, the more shrewd and the more intelligent ones know full well they don't want us to go back to Africa. Because if you take the cogs out of the machine, the machine shuts down.
Mm-hmm.
They need you spending, because what do they call? They call us cattle. They live off of us. They survive off of us. I mentioned Burkina Faso. Right now, the country of France is crumbling because they've been pumping circumstance and have had many of those African nations that they were given in the Berlin Conference. They're now cutting them off. They're now escorting their troops out. But see, you don't get that on mainstream media. If you do, they're telling you that a terrorist, not a terrorist, what's the other word? A rogue or rebel forces have taken over.
Mm-hmm.
These are people that just want independence, right? And so that's what mainstream media will tell you if they report the story. But France, Macron stood before the EU and said, we need to come up with a plan to recolonize Africa. Why? Because they're getting kicked out. the youth, because it would appear, unfortunately, that some of the elders who are over some of the countries in Africa are beholden to their European overlords. But these younger ones, they're not having it. And the beautiful thing about Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso, when the people of the Islamic faith said, oh, we're going to come in, we're going to build mosques. He said, we don't need mosques. We need schools and hospitals. Don't bring us religion. Bring us something that's going to help us. Don't bring us religion. Because for the African people, religion is what subjugated us. So I think Darnell must have had there he is.
No, I'm still here. I'm going to step away for a quick second. Okay,
he's going to step away for a second. So, he has family to see about. But no, when we're on such a time constraint, everything is. We're looking at our phones. We're wearing watches. We have the fancy, the iPhone watches and the Galaxy watches that we have. We have all that fancy stuff, right? And that keeps us on a schedule. But if you were to ever visit the continent, when the Father is so gracious to return us back to the continent, because we're going back. If you read your Bible, we're going back. You trust and believe. You're going to have to learn them. We can't go over there with our Western ways. We've been polluted. I asked a question in our study group, I think maybe a couple of years ago. I started along this line 2, maybe 3 years ago now. What would we be like if we had never been tampered with? Had the colonial powers never come in and removed us from our land? What would we be like? And because a lot of our responses and our sensibilities are not at all African tribal in nature, but they are really Westernized European sensibilities. So the things that incense us, it's not even a thing with our tribal people in the motherland. So we think that we're free, but you pay off your house. But when you pay off your house, if you don't pay your taxes, you could still lose your home.
Mm-hmm.
Or even with the HOAs, the Homeowners Association.
Oh my gosh!
I can't say anywhere else, but here in Texas, you can be current on your mortgage if you want to.
In Kansas City as well.
HOA put a lien on you. Yep. You didn't pay your HOA fees. Don't lose your house because you didn't pay your HOA fees.
Yep.
Or same thing with the taxes. You could be current on your mortgage and you didn't put your taxes in escrow here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pay that tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
They will put you out of your house with your current mortgage.
Yep.
So you don't really own anything. You have, from Missouri, we have personal property tax. So your cars and your boats can be paid off, but every year you got to pay a tax to own it.
Yep. Well, it's to support the government.
Support these. I'm telling you, it's not there, and that is a part. It's still bondage. It's still oppression, and We think we're free. Okay, no, we're not shackled. We're able to own a home, live where we want. Although now in this atmosphere, I'm careful of where I want to live. We don't want to have any get out moments, you know. Um, you're not free, and in this climate, the hoods are off, the masks are off. A Missouri senator told you that America is for white Christian men. And I told a friend that I was talking to today, and Darnell is back. I said, check me on it. I said, missionary, they see the propaganda has told you that the Christian missionaries were benevolent people. No, the Christian missionaries were scouts. Because every time a missionary came with a Bible talking about Jesus, the military came right behind them. Check me on it. Explain to me why America, who was chosen by God to propagate the gospel, why do we have more than 600 military bases all over the world? Military bases. Because everywhere they went with the Bible, the military was right behind them. And the story from Africa tells us that while they had their heads bowed in prayer, the colonizer was stealing their resources. And so we are singing by and by when the morning comes. We'll understand it by and by. We'll understand it better by and by. Farther along, we'll know all about it. Farther along, we'll understand why. Cheer up, my brother. Live in the sunshine. We'll understand it better by and by. Meanwhile, the thief is ruling now. And I got a problem when the Bible says, when Yeshua or Jesus says, no one having given up their father and mother for the kingdom will, you will have 1,000-fold in this world and the world to come. But why do we keep on preaching by and by when the Messiah said we're supposed to have something in this world? And it's not because you don't have enough faith. It's because there's a system that is in place that intentionally subjugates you and disenfranchises you. And with that, I yield the floor back to our host.
It's funny that you were talking about, you were talking about the taxes and so on and so forth. It's like, you think about it, it's like, you got to pay to make the money. You got to pay to spend the money. You got to pay to keep what you got.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and in any case you don't pay it, you end up like, oh my gosh, Wesley Snipes, because of tax evasion.
Right?
And if you don't like it here, if you don't like it, go back to Africa or go or get out of the country. Oh, but wait, if you go live in another country, you still got to pay taxes. Even if you are not in the US, you still have to pay. So you can't even get away from it if you get away from here.
Mm-hmm. The funky thing about when they tell you to go back to Africa, many of the people that are telling you this, they are only maybe second generation European immigrant. I can trace, I'm not saying I'm indigenous, but so far, I can trace my ancestry back to an 1835 birth. And that's hard. It's hard tracing ancestors prior to the emancipation. It's hard tracing that. So I have a great grandmother, Emily, who was born in 1835. So I've got at least a 200-year heritage here. I'm not saying I want to stay here. I'm not saying this is my native land. I'm not saying that. But many of the people that's telling you that, because think about it, at the end of slavery, we outnumbered them. They don't want to tell you that, but we outnumbered them. So that bring us your huddle masses, you're weary. It was a campaign. They needed more non-melanated people. They only extended that to Europeans. They didn't say that to Africans.
And also, if you think about, well, I mean, even if you want to talk, I mean, you talked about emancipation. let's talk about emancipation, or the Great Emancipation Proclamation, when Abraham Lincoln did a great thing and freed the slaves. Well, go actually research on that. Yes, he freed the slaves in the North. So first of all, excuse me, he freed the slaves in the South that had already seceded from the Union. So if you were still living in the North, and if you were still in slavery, you still got to stay a slave. It was a political move, and it was for reinforcements. Because you go and look at the history, the North was getting their butts whooped. They was getting slaughtered.
Thank you, Russia. History. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. They needed reinforcements, and so when they would free slaves from the South, hey, go fight for your freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of us fought for our freedom. But
then the 13th Amendment.
Oh, cool.
Y'all, it's still on there. Just go. I think it was Ava DuVernay. She did an excellent documentary.
Yeah,
that's on Netflix called 13th. Please, if you have not seen it, please go look at it, y'all. Please, please, please.
Yeah, it was solid.
Yeah, and some of you are so proud. I've got Indian in my family. Listen, I ran my DNA. And because our story was that our grandmother's father was an Indian man, but he looked like a white man. So when my cousin ran his DNA first, and the first thing I zeroed in on, I said, where's the Indian? I'm more Filipino than Native Indian. I think I'm 0.1% Native American. And so when I ran mine, I got the same results. Some of you are so proud to be Indian, but you don't know that the U.S. government, I can't remember, it was one of those huge tribes, would not release the enslaved Africans, and the federal government had to force the Indian tribes to release them. But you proud to be Indian. Okay, I'm just saying. See, this is why history matters. This is why they want to suppress history. Oh, if they learn history, they're going to hate America. Well,
the truth.
Just let them decide. Tell them the truth and let them make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. Let them make their own decisions.
Well, it's too much DEI in that. But go ahead.
I don't know. A few months ago, I guess it may have been back in the spring. I don't think it was summer yet. My former pastor, because I was working I was on an assignment in Orlando, Florida. And my former pastor was there, and I had not seen him physically in a few years. And I was like, well, you know what? Let me go down while we're in the same city. Let me go down. They were staying at a resort preparing for a cruise. And I said, let me go down and let me talk with him for a quick minute, because they had to get up the next morning and go get on the boat. And now y'all know me. But the bishop, he said, what's that thing that we had? You know, when Martin Luther King, now Bishop is 71, 72 now. And he said, what's that thing? I said, civil rights. He said, yeah. So now I'm listening to a 71-year-old man now. This is what he said. He said, we were better off before all of that. He said, we had, I believe he said our family we used to have a store. We don't have any of that anymore. So let's start looking statistically. Because is this really the land of the free? Our families are worse off. We have a higher, at the time of civil rights, we had the highest marriage rates, even higher than the white community. We had an almost non-existent divorce rate. Now we rival other communities. We have fatherless homes. Why? Because the government used the welfare system to convince our sisters that they were better off not having a father in the home. Oh, that's made up. Young gentleman, I was on an assignment in Arizona. Young man in the National Guard was talking about his grandfather. Grandfather was a social worker in Chicago in the 1970s. He graduated college and he was a social worker in the 1970s. And he said it was his job to convince those Black women that the men should not be in the home. That's not propaganda. That man said that was his job. Now, I don't know, was he trying to purge his conscience because he was going to die? I don't know. But he said that was his assignment. That was what the government was paying him to do, was to break up Black families. Is this really the land of the free? Did we not just trade one bondage for another? Hey, you had 250 years of free labor, then you've had the last 160 of underpayment.
Mm-hmm.
You won't hire us.
Yeah.
You throw everything to DEI and you say, oh, well, because if a Black man has a job, it's because DEI gave it to him and not because he's actually qualified and can do the job.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, talk about delusional, saints. Delusional.
And
are we better off?
And here's what gets me. And, you know, so see, I see a lot of people talk about you know, we're not free because, you know, we're so much better than our ancestors. We're not on plantations getting whipped. Or saying that we are free because we're not like them, because we're not on plantations getting whipped. We're you know, we're so much better than them. That's a low bar. I mean, for real.
I wasn't expecting that.
I mean, for real. I mean, that's a low bar. Is because we're not on plantations getting whipped, because, you know, we're not like Kunta Kinte, or one of the Django characters, you know, with our hands tied up and having dogs eat from our flesh and so on and so forth. Oh yeah, we're free now. But the thing about it is, it also goes to the more of why they had to oppress our ancestors so much. It's because when you come from royalty and you've told your children about the royalty they come from, and you come from so much greatness, to be honest, even what we're in right now would not be considered free to them. Now, if you want to use the bar of what our ancestors had when we were on the plantations prior to 1865, or prior to the 1900s when they were sharecropping, and or late 1800s, early 1900s when they were sharecropping, and so on and so forth, if that's what we're comparing it against, oh yeah, we're so much more free. We're free. We're better than them. If that's what you want to compare it to, oh yes, we're free. If that's what we're going to use to gauge. But again, going back to the title of the video, what is freedom? When no matter where you are in the world, you are low class. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, even the airport. We flew through oh my gosh, what is the name of the country in the Middle East?
Turkey.
Turkey, thank you. yeah. So we flew through Turkey. Yeah, my mind was blanking. You know, we flew through Turkey, and oh my gosh, that airport was so beautiful and massive. It was like probably the biggest mall I've ever seen.
Oh,
everything's there. You know, high end everything. And then we go to the terminal for where most of the African flights were. And if you're from Kansas City, no, No, I'm trying to think something to compare it to, but it was way far off in the basement, and it looked like it was in the basement. Oh my gosh! Everywhere you go, second class,
Wow.
and it wasn't like the rest of the airport to where you had the plane sitting next to the thing to where you just walk on the whatever you call it, that right onto the plane. No, we had a vehicle that drove us out to the tarmac of one of those big planes, or of one of those. It was like a 737, and we had to walk up to the stairs to the plane.
So you want like a tram?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Ah.
we rode a tram out to that, walked up the stairs, up to our plane. Yeah. When the rest of the airport, you literally walk from the airport onto the plane.
What is that thing called? Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So-
So then, when I was flying to Africa, so I had to go into from New York. I ended up, instead of going through Paris, I ended up going through Amsterdam. We landed at, I think it was 6:45 in the morning, so it was just becoming daylight.
Yep.
When I got off the plane, there was hardly anybody. I think we were in Terminal E. There was hardly anybody there. I was walking through the airport just because it was clean. Oh, those bathrooms and those sinks. Oh my goodness. It was really nice. It was really nice. If you know Buc-ee's restrooms, this was just a little step up above Buc-ee's in the airport in Amsterdam. No issues. Walked through the whole airport. Nobody stopped me. I was surprised at how many of us were there working in the airport. I was like, oh, we're here. I mean, like in great number. It was just surprising to me, right? Well, when we were leaving Africa, coming back to the States, flying in from Accra, Ghana, we came into the same airport, Schiphol, in Amsterdam. After we walked down this long hallway from the gateway, right? We walked down this long, wide hallway. We're met by about 7 or 8 security guards who checked everybody's passport before they let them pass. Now, the Saints could not understand why David was so mad. I said, no, I came from New York and nobody did this. They did this because we're coming from Africa. This is racist. They were like, I said, no, this is racist. They didn't do this from New York. They're only doing this because this plane came from Africa. So what are you saying? That the Africans are incapable of checking the people's ID? Get out of here.
You know what? Actually, I got hassled on my way back as well. Actually, they took my pick. You know, I had my pick to pick out my beard. Yeah, he took my pick out, like pushed it into his hand like it was some kind of weapon. It's like I put it through my hand, like I put it through my beard. I'm like, this is what this is. Yeah, he took that from. I'm like, man, whatever. You can have my.
What? Really? They took something from her in Paris. I mean, not Paris. They took something from her in Amsterdam, and then turned around and took something from her in London, because her bag was packed so thick. Bless her heart, sweet as she could be. It was packed so tight that her sister had to stand on it for them to zip it. So they couldn't look in there. And so that stuff that was duty free that they bought in the airport in Accra didn't pass in Amsterdam or didn't pass in London. So just because you got it behind security in one nation don't mean it'll clear in the next. But I mean, when I tell you, it was like I didn't have to go through security again when I came through when I came from New York. When I came to Amsterdam, I didn't go through security again. I got dumped off at a gate, and all I had to do was walk down a couple of hallways to another Terminal. Thank you. I didn't go outside. I didn't have to go through security again. Oh, but when we came from Africa, they checked our passport, and then the next thing you know, we were going through security again.
Yep.
We got routed.
Yep.
Same thing that happened when we got to London. And they were saying, we didn't get checked like this when we came from London. I said, are y'all seeing now why I was upset?
I didn't even think about that until you said it. But yes, we like when we came in from we flew in from Chicago, and didn't have no problems. But shoot, when we came in from Kampala, or from Entebbe, I guess is what it was, Africa. Oh yeah, we ran through that big old long line again through customs, and
that's where they tried to rob you, right?
When he took my pick, boy, shoot, hey, didn't want me attacking the captain with my pick. I was like, it's like, to be honest, you probably got to worry more about the hair than the pick.
What you gonna do? Put his eyes out? Was it the metal pick or was it the plastic?
It was the metal pick. I mean, I'll give you that, but it's like, for real. It's like he stuck it in his hand. It's like, I mean, you're putting it in your hand. What's they gonna do?
Now I'm gonna have to disinfect it
No, it wasn't no disinfectant. I let him have. I'm like, you know what? I ain't even gonna trip out. I gotta go. It's like, for real, man.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So kind of what we're talking about here. We haven't been. If we start from our experiences in Africa, and we talk about our experiences here, are we really living in the land of the free?
Mm-hmm.
We may not be in shackles, but we still are oppressed. And don't fool yourself. You may live in a fine home, and you may live in a nice neighborhood. You might even live in a gated neighborhood. But if any other ethnicity, and I do mean any other, see, I don't ascribe to a black and brown coalition, because I have seen firsthand, no shade, just truth, when they dangle the carrot to be white to the brown people, they take the ability to be white, because nobody wants to suffer with us. Because we're Zion, who nobody's looking for, who nobody's seeking after. Nobody's looking for us. Nobody's getting. Everybody's been, since we're on the subject of time, we've missed 2 raptures. Have y'all got it yet that ain't real? But see, the funny thing is, when the Messiah does show up, he's not showing up to people that are getting paid money from all over the world for he's not showing up for people who have received $150 billion from a nation that did not harm them. He's showing up for people who have been abused. So when you look at Isaiah 63, he said, I look for a nation. I look for a people to stand with me regarding my people, and there was none. So I slaughtered the nations in my own anger.
Yes.
So nobody's standing for his real people. So they can fool you with the black and brown coalition if they want to. I have no issue. I just don't ascribe to that, because I know at the end of the day, I told my coworkers in December, I said, at the end of the day, the black man stands alone. Boy, after the inauguration, we got whiplash from that pen. I said, but what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Well, you said, I said, I know what I said.
Yep.
I know what I said. Ooh. I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
So I mean, that's it right there. It's like, and freedom looked a lot different to our ancestors than it does now. And if you if we want to use our ancestors that were in chains as your gauge for freedom, that's a real low bar.
Real low bar. Still funny. Wow.
But the freedom we have, you know, it's funny. I actually put this up on Facebook probably a few weeks ago. What is freedom that you can't escape? We are so free that even if we go to another country, if we go anywhere else in the world, we're so free that we still get to support the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Man.
Like literally how hard it is even to renounce your US citizenship. We're so free that we can't even do that.
And ask yourself a question. You know, I'll just spell it out. MAGA. Well, when was it great? At what time? Ask them. What time period are you specifying?
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously you don't like the last 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want to go back at least 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
But any of that time, it involves us either being oppressed or enslaved.
Yep.
I was watching on Instagram, you know, because I always talk about my need to work out, but I'm losing weight. Hallelujah. Talk about my need to lose weight. So, you know, Facebook and Instagram has no chill. Whatever you say, you go out and you come back in, you got to add immediately. So Instagram, you know, it delivers when people are working out. So this one black bodybuilder brother, he's, you know, lifting weights. And, you know, I always tell people I like looking in the comments because the comments will tell you the mindset of the people. That's why I like Twitter. I go read comments. And so I'm literally looking, he's live streaming comments. Oh, it'll break the bank to buy you. Oh, I'm going to have to take out 2 loans to afford you. Oh, I can't wait to own you. These are separate people. This is in their mind now. And guess what? I bet if you follow them on Sunday morning, you're going to follow them to church on Sunday morning. Good Christian people. Good Christian people. The 3 C's. Now, Darnell, you tell me, am I lying? At one point historically, I called it the 3 C's because they were synonymous. Catholic, Christian, and what's the third one? Church. That was all synonymous with Rome. If you said Catholic, it was Rome. If you said church, it was Rome. If you said Christian, it was Rome, because they call Christianity the Roman religion. That Christianity was not in Africa. I know there's a video out there saying, well, you know, Christianity was taken to Africa. No, Africans were not observing Christianity at all. Africans were following the way. We would follow what would closely to what you would call the Torah now. We were not observing Christianity. Oh, by no means. This is what the Inquisition was about. If you didn't want to become a part of the Roman religion, you got exported to Africa. They tell you that. So at what point was the nation great? What point do you want to go back to? Again, it's about time. It's about time. I firmly believe, I said it before, that when the Father will usher us back to our homeland, as the scriptures have said, this constraint, it's a beautiful thing that young man, nearly 20 years younger than me, has already figured it out with his young family and said, we're not doing this. We're here, but we're not doing this. We're securing land and we're disconnecting from now. Okay, they've got a Facebook page, but as far as their need for the outside world, and they sell what they raise on their land. We need a reset. We need to be able to, because this is pressure. This is why we have high blood pressure. This is why we can't sleep. We're gaining weight. Everything about us is off because we are in an oppressive, intentionally oppressive system. And they slapping you in the face and saying it's just the wind. Oh, it's not the wind. Go ahead, Darnell. I'm sorry.
No, that's real. It's everything about this place. I mean, you have to ask permission to be sick. You got to ask permission to take a day off. You got to ask permission to go bury your relative, and you got to ask permission on which relative it is, because depending on what relative it is, it that also judges how much time you get to take off as well. I had a job whose policy was, if it was your parents, your grandparents, parents and grandparents, you get to take a full 5 days. Oh, great. Well, my great grandmother died. First of all, a blessing. I got to see my great grandmother in my adult years. My great grandmother died. I didn't get no time off because the policy said grandparents or parents and grandparents. It didn't account for great grandparents. So I had to take regular PTO for that.
Did it include your siblings?
It did include siblings. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, great grandparents it didn't. So all of that, you got to ask permission to go have a baby, and it tells you exactly how much time you have. Oh, you got 3 months 6 weeks to where you get paid.
3 months.
Yeah, 6 weeks, up to 3 months to where your job is protected. you ain't gonna get paid for that the other 6 weeks after that. Yeah. But
and if you think you're gonna be gone more than 90 days, then you need to fill out for short-term disability.
I think after that is a long term. I think over 90 days. I think it's long term. I don't remember, but either way. But yeah, I mean, so you got to ask permission to do all that. That sound free to you? And then all this work that you're doing, you're not building your future. You're building somebody else's. And actually, and it'd be, and this, they say, go pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, anytime that we have pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps and created wealth and created fully self-sustaining cultures within ourselves, go research about Black Wall Street. That's one of many examples of the same thing. There are multiple lakes that are built on top of thriving Black towns, in Atlanta, Detroit, in literally all over the country. They're literally lakes that were built on, I think, Lake Lanier. It's a party lake, but it was once a thriving Black town. It is all over, example after example of every time that we actually did build for ourselves, it was destroyed.
Absolutely.
And so, it's like, oh yeah, we it's our own fault that we can't do anything. It's like, no, we've done this time and time again, and every time that we've done it, the same result. We are here because of an intentional effort and an intentional plot and successful plot of consistently oppressing us.
This system was never designed for your advancement.
No, it is not.
It was never designed for your advancement. Never. This is why they can so easily maneuver you. One of my good friends, he said, "Don't pee in my face and tell me it's raining." Oh. You tried to tell me I need to be glad that you're oppressing me.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a paradigm. We always talk about paradigm shifts from the church. It is a paradigm shift when you go and see how our people, man, I promise you, I want to go back so soon. I do. I had such peace. Now, don't get me wrong now. And I'm not going to bite my tongue about it. My accommodations were not, because there were some things Yeah, the accommodations weren't the greatest, but that aside, if it wasn't for maybe the attitude of a crazy hotel, I probably could have stayed a little longer. Although you can't stay because they're gonna make sure you leave. I had to fill out to get into to go to Ghana. It wasn't as hard in Kenya, but to go to Ghana, there's an 8-page questionnaire that you fill out online. Then you have to print it out, sign it, and send it with the registration fee. Oh no, I'm sorry. You sign the registration fee before you get the thing to print off. The registration fee, you print it out, then you mail it to the Ghana embassy in Washington D.C. with your passport, and that process can take several weeks. You pay an extra $100 to expedite it. They want to know who you come to see. Is it work? Is it personal? Who invited you? What's their address? What's their phone number? What's their email address? Listen, if any of us had stayed there longer than we were supposed to, they would have been looking for Robert. Why didn't David leave? And then y'all getting mad because somebody grabbing folks that should have went home here. I mean, now we do have an immigration policy. I'm just saying. And everybody ain't seeking asylum. Some folks over here just trying to get money. I digress.
Yeah. And it's funny, it's like when you talked about your friend that lived on a farm, literally my son's my son plays flag football, and one of the members of our team, their family, very similarly, were living on a farm off the land, so on and so forth. Even the boys, you know, I think the youngest son is my son's age at 11 or 12 is how old he is, and it's like they know how to process their own meat. You know, even the boys even know how to. He said they know how to process a goat or a lamb and so on and so forth. I've never even done that ever. You know, the older. It's like, hey, you show me how this is done. It's like, okay, what do I cut? You know, the older men can process, you know, entire like the bigger meat, like the cows and different things like that. And it's like crazy. It's, you know, just literally living off the land and living off of what they have. That's something I've never done. I would love to, but it's like, but I mean, if you want to talk about freedom, and so because it's like, hey, if first of all, I don't have to go to the grocery store all the time. You know, and that's what the system is meant to do, is for you to have to depend on someone else. It's like for you to have to go to somebody else to get your water, for you to have to go somebody else to get your food, for you to have to go to somebody else to get everything that you need. And so, you know, and one of the other things as far as with Uganda, with all of I mean, going back to food, and not even just restaurant food. I mean, literally, you know, when I told them that there were homeless people that didn't have anywhere to live, people that would starve, and so on and so forth, they looked at me like, really? But like it was like it like blew their mind. You know, because again, you know, to them, they think America's the promised land. And so to tell them that there were homeless people, but then the other piece is, even there,
we tell them, don't come, stay here, don't come over here.
We're trying to get there.
We want to come there. No.
Trust me, you
trying to come over here.
But the other piece is, even the people who are poor there, they still eat. You know, because it's like I mean, first of all, the trees actually still bear fruit there
every day. Every day, except for Sunday morning. They all go to church, but by Sunday afternoon, the market is open.
And even in Uganda, it's not even just a market. Well, I mean, there's like a market on every store.
The streets are open. See, all on the side on the side of the road, all of them are vacant Sunday morning.
Man,
but by afternoon, they're back out there like any other day.
On every corner where here you'd get a panhandler, or you'd have somebody coming up with their arms full of like pineapples, just like pineapples, as many as the person can carry. You
The
know, you have
with the things on their head.
the things on their head. It's like they have avocados up there, and I mean, full of, you can just literally buy. I mean, everything you need. And to be honest, it just grew out wild. I mean, shoot, you can't starve because it's like you just walk up the street, get some sugar cane. Sugar canes is growing on the side of the road. It's like there's everywhere, and they don't trip off of that. It's like that they don't.
Orangutans.
What's that?
We were throwing bananas to orangutans or baboons. Orangutans.
Y'all were
on the side of the road in Kenya.
What? No.
Okay, which is baboon is the big one, right?
Orangutan is like the big giant furry one. That's orangutan.
What
baboons? Baboon's a little bit skinnier. It's a bigger for a monkey.
It's one of those primates.
Yeah.
I got to go back and look at the video.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, they were in the wild. We had bought bananas because I'm allergic to it, so I didn't eat them. But they had bought bananas because the bus stopped. And then I guess they got full off of them bananas. And then all of a sudden, they said, oh, look, we even saw zebras. We stopped, saw zebras. Now, I didn't get out. I wasn't finna get out and climb that hill. I keep telling you.
I heard the zebras can be aggressive too sometimes.
Well, they was off in the distance. And then we kept driving. And it was like, oh, somebody asked me, on the roadside? Y'all, they put the roadside through the wild. They were already there. The road was the interruption. We saw zebras and giraffes in the wild.
Okay, so we never talked about this, David. Now it's like I didn't realize that.
And Hakuna Matata really is a thing, y'all. It's all over everything in Kenya. And I refused to buy because I was like, no, Lion King ruined it for me. I don't want anything that says Hakuna Matata. And it's on everything. Hakuna Matata. I said I refuse to buy it.
So I wonder if that's a tourism thing too.
Well, I didn't lean into it.
Yeah.
Hakuna Matata. But no, we were feeding. There's so much food. They were throwing banana pieces to these primates on the side of the road.
That's crazy. Yeah, and yeah, so that's crazy. Well, and then the other piece, as far as you want to talk about, getting back to the tourism and the here's something that actually got me in Uganda. Because you talked about even the billboards were a lot of us. Uganda actually, it was almost wannabe West. So you got like a lot of, it's like I'm seeing Tyra Banks up there. I'm seeing, a lot of American stuff like that. It's like why? You got beautiful women here.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when I was in Kampala, I'm like, really? Like I'm seeing non-melanated folks. It's like I ain't seen a non-melanated somebody in anywhere that I'm walking, but I'm seeing billboards of and so it's like that's something that kind of got me is I saw a lot of that. So that actually threw me off a little bit, and so and then oh shoot, we were at a restaurant that actually had some live music. And the DJ, he played a lot of African stuff, but then next thing I know, he started playing stuff that I knew. Like he started playing a lot of American music, and I'm like,
"Oh, you catering? Okay."
I'm like, he must have found us, and I'm up in there bouncing my head. It's like, oh yeah, I know this one. And so stuff that I used to sing from the '90s. I'm like, so I was like, I was like, I felt like I was still in America on some of that. So that was kind of one of the things that actually got me too. It's like, man. But yeah, so getting back to the point, it was like there's a depending on what your gauge of freedom is how free you are, and I think that's something that we as a people need to reevaluate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is reevaluate what freedom is.
Yeah.
And also realize we ain't gonna get it here. But again, obviously, and then going back to what our hope truly is, biblically. Obviously, one of my most recent videos. If you look on my channel, No Longer Vain on YouTube, I had a live called "Meeting Him in the Air" and what that's all about.
Mm-hmm.
The true promise of the Old Testament, New Testament, all throughout the Bible, that whole meeting him in the air is based off of his promise to his people, who at the time when he comes are going to be scattered from one end of the earth to the other and oppressed by all nations where they are, that he will return them back to their land.
So that, you know, people like the medicine in the white bottle. There's a clip out on social media from, I believe her name is Kim Iverson.
Ooh.
She's a conservative mouthpiece. She talks about this very thing. And she's saying it's a bloodline covenant. Not a whoever believes this, that, and the third. She said it's a bloodline. See, this is the medicine from the white Bible. Now they're saying who's not the people, if you get what I'm saying. They telling you who's not the people, but what they won't say is who are the people. But no, so what Darnell just said, if you have a problem with, you know, Brown saying it, go look at the video of it's a clip out there, Kim Iverson talking about God's covenant with the children of Jacob, but use the I word, the children of Jacob. You see, it's a clip out there. She runs down word for word what he just said. Conservative Christian.
There we go. Well, hey man, we as always, we always have solid conversations on here when we bring David on, and David, hey, I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you as always, adding to this and just bringing it, and so another great conversation. Those of you guys that listen, thanks for hopping on, thanks for listening, thanks for tuning in. Again, this is No Longer Vain podcast. If you search me on YouTube, it's No Longer Vain. Actually, on Facebook, it's also now No Longer Vain. No Longer Vain. And so that's my entire online presence. That's who I am. And so come check me out. If you haven't been on before, check out the channel. Please like, subscribe, share it with folks. And hey, thank you for attending. Anything else before we go, David?
I was just gonna say, you think as much as we've talked here, 2 hours, 22 minutes, you think as much as we've talked here, we don't talk, but we talk about 2 or 3 times a week.
We do. And it can run.
Oh, let's just say, and we talk this much just in a regular phone conversation.
Oh yeah, for real.
It's a blessing to have this dialogue, to have this friendship and brotherhood with a junior. He's my junior, but someone who is like-minded, and we still talk on the same level and share so many things and bounce so many ideas off of each other. And it is truly a blessing. You are a blessing to me, you and your family, and I appreciate you. I do. I really appreciate you.
Likewise, brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, hey, again, thank you guys for tuning in. You be blessed.
Yeah, I bless you.
Read your Bible, give you chills, look around, it's the end of time. I ain't scared, I prayed for this in 2005. Now I'm here, is it real? Really real, really real. Talk that make you read your Bible. Give you chills, look around, it's the end of time. I ain't scared, I prayed for this in 2005. And now I'm here, and I got angels with me. I got angels with me if they come for me. It's power in the blood, this truth will make you free. You'll see, I got angels with me. I got angels with me if they come for me. It's power in the blood, this truth will make you free. This the moment we've been waiting for. At the border, sizing up the wall. Should we stay or go? Famine of the word coming, they censoring internet. They got bombs, we got angels with us. We a bigger threat. I know they see us calling chariots, and they scared of that. Echoes in all of my phone calls. They hearing that. Sending agents.